This is Adam Gorney, Rivals.com, here with West Virginia coach Neal Brown on the second signing day. Signing day, December is the real one, right? And then this is just kind of the icing on the cake.
Yeah, that's the way we really think about it, Adam. It's we signed 21 prospects in December. We signed one today, and then we've added some transfers, and we've still got some open spots because in the world we live in now, is we're going to go through spring practice, and we've got some open spots, and to address the needs that we see as we move through spring football.
Let's start at quarterback, Nico Marchio. Just how special is he? A lefty quarterback, which is kind of different for you. As a guy that knows that, does that matter to you at all, or is that really just kind of something that really does not matter at all anymore?
No, I don't think it matters. You don't see a whole lot of lefty quarterbacks, though. We had one really early in my career at Troy University. One of our first quarterbacks was a left-handed kid, and you really just kind of flip some of your base calls. It's more when you're in your naked and boot games, you need to think about going left a little bit more than you do right. But Nico's super excited. You know, he's a guy that I've seen play live, saw him throw multiple times in a live scenario. I think when you talk about him, it really starts with this it factor, and he's a kid that's got charisma. Guys are drawn to him. He's been trained to be a big time quarterback, probably going back to middle school. His family's done a really good job putting him in a position to be successful. He got here in January, and he's going to compete for our job. We've got two other guys in our program, Will Crowder from Alabama, and then Garrett Green from the Panhandle of Florida, and they're going to compete and for the opportunity to win the job this spring.
When you look at quarterbacks, everybody talks about arm strength, but that's kind of third or fourth maybe on the list. Is it decision making? Is it leadership? Is it guys going to run through a wall for him? What is it? And like you said, that it factor. He's got a little bit of that, like that quiet fire that that competitive spirit is definitely there.
Yeah, well, that was on full display on the nationally televised game when they came back and beat Gorman. And he came back from the deficit right there at the end of the game. And I think there's some non-negotiables that, from a character standpoint, when you think about quarterback, that those got to be checked off first, right? And so, is he the right kind of person? Like, is he a guy that makes good decisions off the field? So that has to be checked. Does he love football? And what I mean by that, everybody says that. What does that mean? That means they go above and beyond, which Nico definitely does. Does he have leadership capabilities? And without question, he does. I think that's been evident here since he's been on campus for 3 weeks. He's organized throwing sessions. He's getting guys in here to do extra after their normal lifts. So I think those are non-negotiables. Then you start, I thought it was really important in this class and really for us moving forward as a football program that we have a guy that not only can throw, but has the ability to run and the ability to escape from the pocket, extend plays. So that was something that was a huge factor in this class for us as a quarterback in our class of 22. And then decision making is always you want a guy that has confidence, but there's a fine line between thinking you can do everything and then taking what the defense gives you. So we want a guy that has good decision making. And then something that we were really looking for is somebody that kept a good base in the pocket, that can move, not only escape the pocket, but move up and back and to the side, subtle movements to get the ball off. And then the last thing is off-platform throws, which you've seen, I think, and that's one of Nico's real strengths.
Yeah. Moving on to junior college recruiting and how you guys handle that and the success you've had in this class, especially. How is it different than high school recruiting, if at all? And do those guys kind of come in with a little bit of an extra edge because they necessarily want to try to prove themselves maybe even faster?
Well, I think we had a lot of success with junior college players at Troy when we were the head coach there. And some of our top wideouts at the University of Kentucky when I was a coordinator there in 13 and 14 were junior college guys. I think what you get with a junior college football player, if you do a really good job in the recruitment process. So what happens a lot of times with junior college players is you have a need and you recruit them for just a short amount of time and then you sign them and you're not really sure what you're getting. I think the important thing is with junior colleges, you recruit them just like a high school prospect. You go through a year plus process. You get to know who they are. what kind of character they have, what kind of student are they, what's their strengths and weaknesses, because everybody has them, right? And I think sometimes you need to understand what a person's weaknesses is. So when they come, you have an idea what to expect and how to use those guys. And so I think that's what we try to do with the junior college prospects we signed is really get to know them and recruit them like a high school athlete. The thing that I enjoy about junior college prospects is they're, almost to a man, is they're extremely grateful. The style, whether it's training table meals, strength staff, the type of locker room where they live. It's such a dramatic step. Yeah. Up from what the accommodations they had in most of their junior colleges. There's a real sense of gratitude for them because they've seen the other side, right? And so now they get a taste of what big time Power 5 football is, and they want to make sure that they continue to earn that opportunity. Where sometimes the high school kids they don't know the other side, right? They don't know how it is to be in a town without a stoplight or being in an old school dorm room. They don't appreciate the type of things that you have in big time Power 5 football.
That question kind of dovetails into the transfer portal and whether you feel like you have a better grasp of it than some because of the junior college thing, or if it's just everyone is just trying to figure this out and do their best. I mean, where do you kind of stand on that, Neal?
Well, I think it's something that's evolving. And right now, the issue with college football and maybe college sports in general is this: there's no boundaries on it. And so I think that we've got to take a really hard look at, there needs to be some type of windows for free agency, because let's call it what it is. It's free agency. That's the era we're in. We're in a free agency era, and we're the only major sport that doesn't have windows for free agency. NFL has windows, Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, and so on. I think what we need to look at is I think it's fair to have two windows, maybe one that goes mid-December through the month of January, and then maybe mid-April through the month of May. And so you give student athletes two different opportunities to enter, but that can be the only time you can enter and then exit the portal. I think that helps. I think from I always think in this world that we're in right now, there has to be a give and take. And the administrative side may need to look at it and say, okay, if we're going to do that, then we need to be really patient. And maybe if we're not going to allow players to transfer during the season, maybe we should look at not firing coaches during the season, right? Because that's what they want to blame all the early firings on is early signing day, and which I don't buy, but early signing day and then transfer portal. So I think there has to be some give and take, but we're going to have to get in some windows of free agency. And then the other thing too, it's been a perfect storm. Like our game is in constant flux. I can tell you the job as a head football coach has dramatically changed in the last 2 years, and it's been a perfect storm with name, image, and likeness, which is something I believe in. I think it's everybody's right. You should be able to be able to profit off your name, image, and likeness. I don't know why we haven't done that, but there's no rules on that either. So we've got a perfect storm with this NIL and the transfer portal, and now they're both almost becoming one.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting conversation. Hopefully it gets figured out, because I think it would certainly benefit the game. Last thing on recruiting, one in-state signee that's certainly not your fault. It's just not a state that's going to produce a lot of guys. You have to go around the country and do that. How important is hitting Florida, is hitting those markets where you've been successful in years past to kind of continue building out your class?
Yeah, well, we're in a state that I think the high school football coaches here do a tremendous job. We're just not very highly populated, approximately 1.8 million in the state. We're extremely excited about Corbin Page, who's a tight end, and I think it's got a chance to be special. And we've got several quality West Virginia products here. Some of our best players, our starting center, who was a second-team All-American, Zach Frazier, is a West Virginia product. Wyatt Milam, who was a freshman All-American, is our starting right tackle. Our right guard, Doug Nestor, is a big-time player. And then Dante Stills, who's going to be an NFL player at defensive tackle. So we've got a really good group of guys from in-state. We just don't have a high number. What we really tried to do is emphasize our walk-on program, which is something that gets overlooked. But we've been able to keep some of our best talent here in the state through our walk-on program, and then they've been able to earn scholarships. So what our recruiting mindset is we recruit within a 6-hour radius of Morgantown, and we can cover a lot of ground. We can get all the way to New York City and the state of New Jersey, state of Pennsylvania, Ohio, all the way to Charlotte, parts of Kentucky, Detroit, St. Louis. So we do try to hit that as our primary, and then our secondary areas, and where our staff has a lot of contacts in the state of Florida, Georgia, and Alabama.
Perfect. That is West Virginia coach Neal Brown here with Adam Gorney for Rivals.com.